Good afternoon. Welcome to the new afternoon off-season time slot of the coaches meeting. That's the coach. And I want you to just take a minute to appreciate his ever-evolving, ever-improving studio. I mean, look at that. Look at that.
We're trying, man. We're trying, man.
Drink it in with your eyes.
We're trying.
That's really nice. You're succeeding. I'm over here trying. This is what trying on the left, succeeding on the right. It looks like that's the difference. Anyway, we got a full show today. Packers DB Kesan Nixon talking trash. We're going to lead off with that. But first, there's a new game I'm playing on my shows with all my guests for the rest until I say it's over. This is in perpetuity. Okay. I feel like we've just talked about one player too much this offseason. And it's not personal. We've just oversaid his name. Okay. And we're going to have to keep talking about him because of the business of football. But if you say his name or his initials, you lose a point. Mm-hmm. And whoever loses more points loses the show. So that's how we determine the winner of the show, whoever says his name fewer times. And I lost last night with Jesse. He said it 0 times. I said it 3 times. So you know who, number 11, you can refer to his hometown, his number, whatever you want, but not his name or initial. That's just the way it goes.
Everyone's going to keep track. There is a name. We'll chime in.
That's right. Okay. So let's start off with Kesan Nixon, though. Okay. Kesan Nixon recently went on with Kay Adams and was talking about Deebo Samuel and the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Why don't you cue it up for the people who haven't heard it?
All right. It's in the Up and Adams show with Kay Adams and Kesan Nixon, and these are his comments.
Saying the Packers let the Niners off the hook last season. Are you more excited about the Week 12 matchup against them than Brazil?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
I've been having to hear from Deebo and Diamador Lenore all summer, so I'm kind of sick of hearing them. So they got to come to Lambeau and see us.
I can't believe what kind of text is Deebo? I feel like Deebo is he came on my show every day he's very short and sweet and direct, but I don't know how he has time to just keep up with everybody the way he does.
Deebo's annoying.
What is he saying? Like he's texting you or DMing you? What is it?
Nah, he likes FaceTime. He wants to talk crazy in your face.
After a game or what?
Oh no, he couldn't talk crazy after the game. We put him out.
Well, of course. Oh, wait. Why is he annoying? Because he just wants to have it out. But you answered the FaceTime, Kesan.
Yeah. We played college together, so that's my boy.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see that being run back. Week 12, I think it is. Week 11, Week 12, late in the season, meaningful game. That'll be amazing. Maybe even better than Brazil to open it up.
This is Josh Allen's offense.
That's it. Those are the comments. So what do you think?
Well, when I read the comments, it sounded like he was mad, but it's good-natured. They're friends. They played at South Carolina together for 2 years. They FaceTime each other, but it sounded like like when he said that Deebo's really annoying and then you have to hear from it sounded real.
Right. Yeah.
Like it hurts.
I mean, yeah, that part of it sounded like he wanted to at least make it full stop. I do feel serious about this aspect of the ribbing. I'm dead serious about this. And
he mentioned Lenore too, who's not necessarily his friend.
Yeah. I mean, listen, man, the boys chirp. We're known to be a talkative team. We kind of leaned into it. I think it's pretty safe to say that we are a talkative team, and we leaned into it with the Philadelphia game, right? That was a time for us to really kind of be quiet, be inside of our own shell. And what ended up happening essentially is that we doubled down. And the worst thing of all happened is that they were rewarded with it. So they went and actually stomped the mud hole in Philadelphia. So this is just more of what they are. These guys like to chirp. That's what they do.
Yeah. So, okay. It's good-natured chirping. Still, though, I don't think it's smart on Kesan Nixon's part. This is the mistake that the Eagles made and that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson made. The thing about the 49ers is that Deebo Samuel may not be their best player, but he can be. You know what I mean? He can be. He can take over games, and he does it less frequently these days. But if you make it personal with him, you're just asking for him to have his one great game of the season against you. And that means you're going to lose. So I think it would be the best thing to do with the Niners is just praise Deebo. He plays so hard. He plays through the whistle. I mean, as good of a receiver he is, he's an even better blocker. That's what you do.
Well, I'm gonna push back. I think that there is a side of this where put yourself in Green Bay's shoes. They feel like they gave that game away against us in the playoffs. They don't feel like they got beat. They feel as though that they had the game in control, and down the stretch, they gave the game away to us. They had us on our heels, and they're keeping the same energy. As a matter of fact, isn't it the Packers who in their preseason, like their opening remarks for their preseason, I mean, not their preseason, but their offseason, we're saying that, like, yo, we're trying to go to Super Bowl this year. We are a Super Bowl team. So this is just more of the same. And we've been a part of this, Grant. This type of attitude doesn't start in camp. It carries over. Like, they don't give it up. They don't lay it down. We try our best to talk to them, to talk a virtue signal towards, all right, well, the guys need to decompress and they need to just put the season down and come. No, they keep the same energy. They understand how they lost, and I wouldn't expect anything less from a team that feels as though that they let a game get slipped through their hands. And let's be honest, it's more than just a game. It's the entire narrative, right? Your head coach is kind of like the little son of your coach. And like, we've come in here, you guys beat us, literally throwing the ball 8 times. Like, you came into our home and beat us at home, right? In our conditions, right? And beat us. So, the Packers, if you're looking at the Packers, we are to them what the Chiefs are to us. And I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah. It seems kind of like the Niners have been sort of beating their chest as the class of the NFC and arguably the NFL, at least in their eyes, for years. Right. And now I think the rest of the teams or the other contenders in the NFC aren't necessarily as intimidated. Like, the Packers played the Niners in the playoffs, and it was real close. Like you said, the Packers feel they lost the game more than the Niners won it. I think the Lions feel the same way. And so the Niners are the team with the target on their back that everyone's gunning for. Last year was the Eagles, and we saw how that went for them. They ran out of gas and they crashed and burned. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Niners got to play the Packers like in the second half of the year when, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
We're going to see if they're still the same comprised team that they were when they started the season. So it's going to be interesting. But, it's good ribbing. I don't think it's anything that's actually like bulletin board material. I don't even think he said anything that the Niners don't even already know, right? Most of what he was talking about is how he feels based off of how the Niners have treated him. Like, he talks too much. These boys always chirping. So it really wasn't even like an attack. It was more along the lines of him saying, like, I ain't no punk. Like these boys, like, I understand how they come at me. You know what I mean?
But also, like, the Niners and Packers have something in common. Neither one have won a Super Bowl. But the Niners are the team that walks around and talks like they did. And I think it's probably pretty annoying. And you can't say much when they beat you because they're better than you. But at the same time, it's like, man, who do you really think you are? Like, you squeaked by us last year. You're not champions. Can't wait to like that game is clearly the Packers Super Bowl. Remember last year when the Niners went into Philly? That was their Super Bowl. At least
exactly.
We had the other Super Bowl, but that was their first Super Bowl, and they won that game. When the Niners went to Green Bay, that's Green Bay's Super Bowl.
100%, and they're going to be gunning for us. But you look at it, Grant, they ain't alone, right? Dallas feels that way about us, right? Detroit feels that way about us. Right.
The Rams.
Seattle feels like that about us. The Rams feel that way about us. Like, if you think about it, the Niners have these personal little tropes with teams where you got to be dangerous because they care more than the Niners do. Right. They're being watched. Like, the Niners are kind of like, in a sense, we're trying to get past and get over the hump to win a championship. But all of the teams behind us, they look at us like gatekeepers, right? And we're in the way, right? Especially on the NFC side of things. We're in the way.
And the Niners are the oldest team in the league. So it's almost like, is this the year that we can take them down? And Kesan Nixon is talking like it is. I mean, the Packers, if you look at them, they were the youngest team in the league last year or close to it. I think they have one player on their entire 90-man roster who's not in his 20s. So could be a changing of the guard this year. It still does seem like the Niners are the best team in the league on paper, and that their issues that have prevented them from winning the Super Bowl may not be personnel. But before we move on, I want to take some supers. Can you read that? What does that say?
CJ95199 says Brandon Aiyuk.
Ooh, that's negative 1 point for you. Sorry.
Oh!
You fell for it. What is it? Sorry. I might win today. Kyle Green says,
I'm gonna tell you what got me. You know what got me? I'm gonna tell you what got me. What got me is that Larry, I do shows with Larry on Saturdays, and he can't read the super chats. You dick.
I was thinking about it for minutes too. I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm like, can you read that? And it worked. Oh, so glad.
And the way you looked at it is like you looked at it like you were like sight impaired. You're like, can you?
It's 2 words. I can't.
1-0. Let's go.
The game is on.
Let's go.
Kyle Green says, I'm coming to SF to watch Monday night against the Jets. We're staying in SF. Any suggestions for hotels? Is Union Square better or Fisherman's Wharf? Also, any recommendations for good restaurants? Most of the hotels are in the financial district. So I don't know. Like, they're all kind of the same. Whatever one you get a good rate at. I know there's kind of an old one, the Hilton, that's like right in between the financial district and North Beach and Chinatown, which is a really cool place to be because all the good Italian restaurants are in North Beach and all the good Chinese restaurants are in Chinatown, and there's cool stuff in financial district too. So I would go there-ish. And I mean, just look up like Eater or there's so many good restaurants. You can't go wrong. Kyle. But I'm a big fan of like RNG Lounge. It's an old San Francisco staple. It's a Chinese restaurant. And then in North Beach, I mean, Original Joe's is kind of classic too. Tony's Pizza. I mean, sorry, that's just, he's Baltimore. We coming back to Niner World. Okay. The wide receiver from Arizona State, second team All-Pro last year, number 11.
All right,
quite a player, maybe the best blocking wide receiver in the league. There's an article today in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette by Joe Starkey saying that the Pittsburgh should make like make the Niners an offer they can't refuse. And he's saying the first round pick next year. And he compared it to when the Steelers traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick 5 years ago, traded a first round pick for Minkah mid-season, and it worked out for them. So in terms of the timeline of almost said it, of number 11's tenure with the 49ers.
Right.
First of all, reading the tea leaves, where do you see this going? And if he were to get traded, when do you think that most likely would happen?
Well, I don't want to step on an amazing point that you brought up earlier in our post-show conversations, but I do believe that it does make sense for BA to get moved in the middle of the season, right? I think it would be prudent for us to understand exactly how the team is going to look with him on the team right now. We got him on the hook for $14 million. At this stage of the game, the sentiments are out the window. We got to look at the production that we're going to get from him and actually what happens when we ingratiate him with the entire offense. Is BA going to be to camp on time, right? This is like a living and breathing situation, in my opinion, right? We got to get him to camp. If he gets there on time, we got to get him inside of the offense, which he already knows. Understanding what BA is going to do.
Boom, that counts as 2. Let's go. Sorry.
I said
can't
BA.
say his initials either.
What?
Yeah, that was part of it, but I'll let you slide on that one, even though I said it. We can run it back. No initials, no first name, no last name. Sorry, that's all I care about is this game.
Okay, all right. I'm in this whole little universe now.
Yeah,
all right, everybody's everybody's so nice.
You got me.
All right, so look, all I'm saying is once you move forward with the player, okay, obviously there's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has been somebody that BA is always up.
Oh man, this is getting good. I like this.
Let's put money. Can we put money on this?
Sure.
$50. You want to put $50 on it?
Okay.
All right, $50. It's got
You're on tilt now.
It's gotta matter. It has
You're
to
on
matter.
tilt now. This is good. I love this.
All right, 50. And if I lose it, I'll throw it right in the super chat. All right, so look.
All right, 3-0. So you were talking about Brandon Aiyuk. Okay, sorry, 3-1. Go ahead.
Oh!
You're back.
All right. Okay, 3-1. 3-1. Let's go. So
You were saying why you think he's going to get, if he were to get traded, it would be midseason.
Yes, I think it's going to be mid-season. There's already been reports about Pittsburgh being interested in him. Also, I would think the Commanders or somebody, because of Jaden Daniels and the connection that they have had together. Also, I feel as though that there is a dark horse team, the Giants. I feel like the New York Giants would actually be interested in BA.
You're just having a really tough time.
I'm having a tough time.
Okay, look, let me talk now.
All right,
let me get you out of this one. Let me do these. All right, look. I think it's pretty clear that the Niners would have traded this player during this past draft if they could have gotten a first-round pick. They didn't. So now the question is, if a team such as Pittsburgh offers a first-round pick next year, would that be something the Niners would like? And I think the answer is maybe, and not right now. You could take the first-round pick now, but it doesn't help you until next year, so there's literally no reason to do it now. You could also take make that deal at the trade deadline, get some production out of this player, and get more evidence. See what Ricky Pearsall's doing. See what Jacob Cowing's doing. Maybe the Steelers are really terrible and their first round pick is something you really want. Or maybe they're really good and their first round pick isn't something you want. More information you could get. But I feel like if you can't get number 11 to sign an extension in the next 3 months, then maybe you prefer to have that first round pick, because if you wait and you tag them and you trade them in the offseason, I don't think you're going to get that first round pick.
Nobody's going to move for a first round pick if you tag them. So they are on the clock in a sense to be able to move him within the middle of the season. And you can find a likely suitor who is, they're leveraged. If you look at the draft, when we first started, the Niners were trying to move the player, but they were leveraged. Everybody understood what the Niners were trying to do, and they got pretty much lowball offers for him. I do believe that the player is a first-round commodity. I don't believe that he's only a second-round guy. You can get a low to mid-round pick for him, and that is contingent upon a team that when they would make a move for the player, you could see that they would be probably in playoff contention or trying to save their season. So that first-round pick would be something where they're saying to themselves, hey, we might as well put ourselves in a position where we know what we got. Right? A pick is still a pick at the end of the day. A first round pick may sound good, but you still got to turn them into something. You still got to hit. So in their position, it's like, hey, we bring in a guy like the player, and you bring in a guy like the player, and he's actually, proof of concept, and he's already a guy that we're willing to pay, and we'll more than likely give up our pick because we're basically catching him in the second phase of what would have been a first round pick, second year deal anyway.
Let's play this out. Let's say so-and-so, he who must not be named, doesn't sign an extension before the season, but plays. He's playing week 1. He's playing week 2. He's on his 5th-year option. And since Ricky Pearsall's on the team, this guy's getting even fewer targets than last year. And he's upset because he's in a contract year again, and he's feeling like the Niners are screwing him over and taking money out of his pocket, and he's playing for less than he's worth, and then he's going to get less money next year, and it's an issue. And Ricky Pearsall is playing well. At that point, the Niners may feel, look, this player doesn't want to be here anymore. We don't necessarily need him, and this drama isn't helping us. So let's take the first round pick next year.
Yeah. And if you look at it, they're saying to themselves, well, shoot, we already got a fringe first round pick guy that we feel as though we kind of reached on anyway. I'll never believe that Ricky Pearsall was their first choice in the first round,
No.
Especially at receiver. I feel like it was a little bit of a consolation prize, and they kind of panicked and picked up a guy who they did have on their board. I'm not here to say that they didn't scout him or they weren't in on him, but I just don't believe he was their first choice at that position.
Remember, I asked John right after, I was like, did you give him a first round grade? And he was like, we gave him a very high grade. So you give him a second round grade. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that said, that's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. It's like we got our guy and we moved on from the player and we got back relative worth for where we drafted. Imagine if we moved the player and got, I don't know, close to where we got him in the first round. I feel like that's a win.
Yeah. I mean, considering with Buckner, they drafted him number 7 and then turned around after all pro seasons, constant improvement, got the 13th pick for him. So if you could trade the wide receiver from Rockland, California, who went to Arizona State for a late first, that's a win.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And right now it's time to be this shrewd, right? We're like, I brought this up. I believe I brought maybe in your show, but the business of football does not care about somebody getting paid. It just does not, right? And you know how football is. It's all about one mind, one voice, one goal. And as soon as you cross over to that barrier of camp starts and guys are starting to actually start hurting and they're starting to get sore and learning their jobs and all of this stuff's going on, the back and forth with the media, it's going to be out of sight, out of mind. It's going to be like, yo, what's up with the player? It's going to be like, he's not here. You know what I'm saying? We can only worry about who's here. So, after a while, he's going to have to play ball.
Which player?
The number 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm coachable. So
you definitely don't make the same mistake 5 times.
5 times. Yeah. Just give me 6 choices. I'm good. I'm good at 5.
We got a question from Juan Solo. Can the Niners reach the Super Bowl without Can they reach the Super Bowl without him? They couldn't last year.
Phonetically, Solo. I like that. That was a good one.
They couldn't last year. This guy needed to make the season-saving catch off the face mask with the assist from the ladybug. Remember that story?
Yeah, I do remember that. I do.
The ladybug. Yeah.
Then aren't you ingratiated with the family? Went out to dinner with his mom.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Saying.
Yeah, that's right.
We might as well call you Cohn. What was your last name be? Cohn what?
All right, man. Let's do some sleeper picks. I'm just a huge WNBA fan. I don't know about you, but ever since Angel Reese went pro, I've been I'm
all over it.
All over it. I mean, Caitlin Clark, yeah, she's cool too, but Angel Reese, big fan. So let's see what Caitlin Clark. Hey, look at her. I didn't mean to press that. Caitlin Clark. She went for 18 in the last game. She's picking it up ever since she had that 7-point game. We all knew she could do better than that, Caitlin.
So much better.
17 and a half, modest for Indiana's finest. What do you think? Oh, or we could do assists. She's also, she's pretty good.
What is she averaging assists?
That's a good question. 6.5. She's an all-around player.
6.5.
Yeah. They put it at 6.5. What do you think? She's going to get her teammates involved today?
She's going to get her teammates involved. She's in a real gracious mood.
Why do so many people think she won't, though? Look at that. People hate Caitlin Clark, except for the people who really like her.
She's a jack. She is a jack in the box, though. She shoots a lot.
Jack in the box.
You never used to say that when we were kids? Like the kid who shot too much when you played basketball? He's a jack in the box.
No, I never said that.
You jack in
the box. But that's pretty good. I like that. I went more on the assists just because I'm a big Caitlin Clark fan. Who else we got? So many of my favorite players. Asia Wilson might be the MVP. 26.5 points. She scores. She's a bucket, as they say.
I remember seeing her crying. I thought I saw a speech or something, man. She was very
She probably
upset.
won something. She's good.
I think she won something.
26.5 points. That's a lot,
it was
though.
like a losing streak, though, or something.
Okay, but do you think she's going to score more or less than 26.5 points?
She's going to score more.
Of course.
She has to avenge herself. She was very upset.
Okay. Where? Who else we got? Oh, we already got Plume, though. You don't know about Plume.
I know.
Darren Waller's ex-girlfriend. Threes. She shoots a lot of threes. Check that out.
That's Darren Waller's ex-girlfriend?
Kelsey Plume.
Man.
Yeah, now he's rapping. But you know what she's
very
doing?
Photogenic.
Draining threes.
Dude, she's awesome.
2.5. Do you think she can do it?
First of all of them can do it. That's not even a question.
Literally no one has picked her to shoot for more than 2. I think we should do it.
Is there an issue with her shooting?
No, absolutely not.
Grant, she's a power forward, though. She's a small forward. So
Yeah,
maybe she's just a defender.
Maybe people are sleeping on her because of Darren Waller's relentless attacks. Who has had better diss tracks this offseason? Kendrick or Darren Waller? It's a good question. I ask good questions.
That's a whole show. That's a whole show.
Yeah, do you have time for that one?
Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
how about De'Erica Hamby? She went for 8 points in the last game for the LA Sparks, but that's not so good. I might have to go less on De'Erica. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just don't. She seems to be in a little bit of a slump. It's not the De'Erica that I've come to know.
She looks like a player's wife. De'Erica.
Okay.
She's very attractive.
Well, those are my picks. Those are our picks. I'm going to submit the entry, doing the combo play so I can get a little bit of action, even if I don't get all of them correct. And hopefully I'll win my first entry in months. So if you want to play, use promo code Cohn. Let's see. Have I won recently?
Yeah.
Oh, no. This was the last one I did with the WNBA.
You know why you're real? You know why this is exclusive content?
Why?
Is because you show the wins and you show the losses.
Both of them.
Both
wins.
Yes. You know how many gambling guys are like always showing the wins, like, yo, I'm killing the game.
Yeah. I'm killing the game, but sort of like in spirit.
You're awesome.
Like if winning and losing didn't matter and just having fun were what counted, that's what I'm winning. I'm winning for sure. I'm way ahead.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
For sure. Okay. Pete Prisco, who writes about the NFL for CBS, ranked the top 100 players in the league, and 9 of them were on the 49ers. That's a league. That's NFL tops. Figured I would go through and give you the rankings for each player and see if you think it's too high, too low, or just right.
Okay.
So, top rated 49er on the list, Trent Williams. Number 1 player in the league, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2 player in the league, Myles Garrett. Number 3, Trent Williams. Pete Prisco says at the age of 36, he remains the game's best left tackle. He is the key to their run game, but he also excels in pass protection. The only concern is when does he start to show his age? Last season, he was number 10. He somehow went up to number 3. He is ranked ahead of TJ Watt, Tyreek Hill, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson. What do you think?
3. I think that may be a little too high.
It's almost 36.
And the consistency, Trent doesn't even finish whole seasons.
Yeah, he plays about 14, 15 games a year.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
For what it's worth, Trent is one of one. And I do feel like the game is kind of like fallen graciously into his skill set. He really doesn't see a lot of players his size, honestly. As far as like, and not even like his size, because he's not like a physically imposing guy. Like Trent is only 6'4", but I feel like just the style of play that in which he has to do on a daily basis, it's fallen really good on his age. I don't want to. I mean, three is too high because you're only thinking about literally two players that are better than Trent Williams. Does he tip the scales like that at number 3 overall? I don't know, but then at the
really
same
rather
time,
have Trent Williams than Josh
Patrick
Allen?
Mahomes. Yeah, Josh Allen. Like,
Really?
I'd take Josh Allen over Trent Williams.
I would. Would you rather have Trent Williams than Justin Jefferson?
No, I take Justin Jefferson over Trent Williams.
Would you rather have Trent Williams and TJ Watt?
We're not now, mind you. Hold on. Trent Williams today, not prime Trent Williams. Prime Trent Williams.
Trent Williams today, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that today.
Okay, so that seems a little rich. Number 8 on the list overall is Christian McCaffrey. That's one spot ahead of Micah Parsons. Pete Prisco writes, he is the game's best back, a dual threat player who can kill a defense with his ability to run it and catch it. He is the prototypical back for today's game, and he gets paid like it. He is also ranked ahead of Nick Bosa, Max Crosby, Sauce Gardner, Jamar Chase, Chris Jones, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Travis Kelce, Aaron Rodgers. What do you think of that?
I agree with that.
Okay.
From where Christian is used, for what he's used, how often he's used, the clip at, like, I think this is the most reps he's ever had from line of scrimmage in his entire career since last year. He's pretty much at the top of his peak. I don't think he can get better as far as what he's asked to do from Kyle's standpoint. And one thing that I will say about Christian that's synonymous with Trent as well is that they've done it in multiple franchises. So Trent was Trent in Washington, right? And then he came over here and married the same exact skill set over here and took off here with the Niners, and it was, hand in glove. The same exact thing happened with CMC. Like, most guys, when they go to different squads and they're kind of like the guy over there, you can come to another squad where you're kind of asked to play along with other talented players, and it really doesn't really hit for you. Like, look at OBJ. I don't necessarily think OBJ's career I think his career kind of plateaued once he had to start playing with Jarvis Landry. He had to start playing with other good receivers, right? And it was kind of like, all right, well, you're not just the guy anymore. You got to fight for reps. Christian came over here and immediately was the guy on a very talented team, and nobody questioned what his utilization was going to be for the team. As a matter of fact, the entire offense kind of shifted to it being all about Christian getting the ball as many times as possible. So I like the position.
My only issue with the ranking isn't necessarily where McCaffrey is. I feel like Prisco has kind of ranked the quarterbacks really low. Like, McCaffrey's a better player overall than all but 2 quarterbacks in the league. I don't know about that. Like, I think I'd rather have Lamar Jackson than Christian McCaffrey. No disrespect to Christian. And that's just where it's a theme with Prisco's rankings. You're going to see Purdy comes in pretty low. A lot of the quarterbacks come in low. But the next one, 22, Fred Warner. This is what he says about Fred. Remains the game's best inside linebacker, a true off-the-ball star. He can run and cover and play the run. The only issues are when he isn't as protected and big linemen get out on him in the run game. Last season, he was number 37. What do you think of 22 for Fred Warner? Excuse me, I passed Nick Bosa. Why don't we do Nick Bosa first? Number 10. His sack number fell from 18.5 in 2022 to 10.5 last season, as he wasn't as dominant as he was the year before. He had just one double-digit sack game last season after having 4 in 2022, last season, number 4. I think of number 10 for Bosa.
I think that may be a little too high for Nick at 10.
Yeah. And a Max Crosby, Sauce Gardner, I don't know. Chris Jones, is he really better than Chris Jones?
I don't know, man. I don't know if he's better. I mean, yeah, Like, would you take Nick Bosa over Lamar Jackson?
No.
Over Joe Burrow?
No.
I don't know, man. Like, but
I'm not even sure I'd take him over Penei Sewell.
Really? Nah, I'd take.
I think Penei Sewell could do a really good job against Bosa one-on-one, but I don't know. Didn't they face each other in 2021? I thought Penei Sewell did a great job against him. Maybe that was a while ago though. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Respect.
Yeah.
But he may be a little too high, but I think that too high is from a standpoint of like no less than 15. I think
That's fair.
I think Nick Bosa being anywhere outside of 15 is you're getting in disrespect territory.
I think that's fair. Okay, so let's go back to Fred Warner. See, my thing, Fred Warner at 22, Bosa at 10. You could argue that Fred Warner was the better player last year.
Yeah, true.
In fact, I think he frankly he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
could. I mean,
yeah.
Really, right now, the way Fred Warner is, the thing about Fred Warner is his consistency.
Yeah.
He's never been hurt, right? And I mean, as far as been hurt, I mean, how many games has Fred missed in his career? Maybe 2.
One.
Yeah, if that. So he's the leader of the defense. He is the constant over all of the changes from DeMeco Ryans to Robert Saleh to Coach Wilkes, now into Coach Sorensen. He seems to be the actual real defensive coordinator on the team. And one thing that I can say about Fred is that he does carry the culture very well as far as who he is persona wise. He is one of the best leaders in the NFL, not just the 49ers. So I think that he's adequately placed at 22. And you can argue for him to be I mean, I wouldn't be mad if you swapped him and Nick Bosa, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could argue they both are top 20 players in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe Warner's a little too low.
Mm-hmm.
No one takes away the middle of the field in coverage like he does. All right, next highest paid player, highest ranked player in the Niners. It's Kittle. And I think I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you how I feel after I hear how you feel. Last season he was 32, this season 37. Prisco writes, he continued to be one of the league's best combo tight ends. He is a dominant blocker as the Niners went to the Super Bowl last season. He had 65 catches, but he averaged 15.7 per catch, the best of his career. He's ranked one head of spot of CJ Stroud, two ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 ahead of Justin Herbert. Like, wow. What do you think?
I was about to defend him until I started seeing all of the people that he was ahead of. Not
to mention other teammates he's ahead of.
True. Well, my thing for George is that he's incredibly useful. And not only is he useful in this offense, but he is the quintessential tight end. He does what tight ends are supposed to do at an elite level, right? Most tight ends that are going to be really good in the NFL, most of them are going to be tilted towards 2 things. They're going to be very athletic, right? Where they're going to be damn near move tight ends that detach and be receivers, glorified receivers, or they're going to be bigger traditional tight ends where you're going to be a little bit you're going to be happy with what they give you in the pass game, but you know they're more of a surprise in the pass game, and where they are blocking wise, they're nowhere as good as what you would get out of an offensive lineman. What I like about George is that he blocks like an O lineman and he gives you receiver ability at tight end. Now, the reason why I believe that he should be at 37 and he's adequately placed is because we have been watching George get slower. He's slowing down. He's not as fast as he used to be. He's not as athletic as he used to be. As far as agility is concerned, there used to be a time where you could watch George get to the top of his route and actually give you a move. Now, I mean, he's got foot in the ground at the top of his route, and it's hard for him to climb that stem. And you could tell he's chugging. He's getting older. His legs aren't as snappy as they used to be. And that's a far cry from what we used to see out of George in 2019 and 18 when he would just pop off the screen, like get the ball and just fly down the field. Now you're getting more of workman reps out of George, where you're really happy that he's helping out Colton McKivitz and pacing him along. giving us good blocking angles on the edge for Christian, and then also being a good pace horse for Brock. That's something that I will be looking at as the season progresses, particularly the offseason when we get into the preseason and training camp. I want to see if Brock still uses George the way he did previously before Ricky Pearsall and Isaac Cowan got here, because George used to be the benefactor of all of those short intermediate routes inside of the sticks, particularly in the red zone. But now we have more guys that pretty much are that skill set. I kind of want to see where's George going to fit in the passing game now that we have guys that they're fast. They don't necessarily take the top off, but I think he's adequately placed. I know you're giving me that look like you trailed off, Coach. This is not what we're talking about.
No. I just don't. I don't think he's adequately placed. I think this is a little bit I feel like some of these rankings are based on where a guy is right now, and some of them are based on reputation. And this is a little bit based on reputation. Like, yeah, he's still the second best tight end in the league, but I mean, he's always kind of hurt. And if you're like power ranking the Niners' weapons, is he really the second best one after McCaffrey? I mean, I think most people would say that number 11 is maybe a little bit better than 85. And I think a lot of people would say that 19 is better than 85. Now, it's great that 85's a good tight end, but it's not even a more valuable position than wide receiver. So I don't know. Like, okay, so number 45, 37 is Kittle. Number 45 is our good friend, number 11. That's kind of confusing. The guy from Arizona State, 45. He had 75 catches with 7 touchdowns, but his big playability was the key to the Niners' passing game. He averaged 17.9 yards per catch, which was the best in the league for players with 70 or more catches. Last season, he was not ranked at all. He's ranked ahead of Justin Matabuki, Aiden Hutchinson, Creed Humphrey, Dak Prescott, Demario Davis, L'Jarius Sneed. That's interesting to me because L'Jarius Sneed kind of locked him up.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, 45 seems fair. Maybe L'Jarius Sneed's getting disrespected a little bit on that one.
Well, I'm trying. Okay. But as I'm going lower, there's really nobody below him that I would take above him. Frank Ragnow, DeMarcus Lawrence, Christian Darrisaw. These are good players too. Jalen. Yeah. Let's do the hard ones. Would you take Jalen Hurts over the player?
Not really.
Right. I wouldn't either. Would you take Lane Johnson over the player?
Probably not. Now he's a little older.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's only one guy, in my opinion, that I would probably take over the player. And
Laramie Tunsil I might take.
Well, the guy that I would take is a teammate.
Travarius Ward?
Yep.
See, that's interesting. Travarius Ward is ranked 60. And what they say here is, in his time with the Niners, he has developed into an outstanding cornerback who somehow doesn't get the due he deserves. He knows how to get the job done and plays the position with a feisty attitude that shows up on game days. Okay, he doesn't get the due he deserves, says the guy who ranks him 60. You could argue he should be ranked much higher than that. I mean, let's look at his numbers just from last year. His numbers last year were insane. He led the league with 23 PBUs. He also had 5 picks. And he gave up a passer rating of 64 when targeted. And he was like shadowing elite receivers around the field. I'm not sure how many corners actually were better than him last year.
No, I'm telling you, Travarius Ward is a very underrated corner. And I'm a little disappointed in him because what really took his game to the next level is the tutelage that he was under with Coach Wilkes. Coach Wilkes really helped Travarius Ward calm himself down in longer routes, being able to stay poised and stay in phase, use the sideline as your friend, all of those good things. And we actually saw it during practice where they were having sidebar one-on-one sessions about that. And then he comes out and says he didn't help him at all. And like there was nothing that Coach Wilkes did to help out his development. But outside of that, I do believe that that Mooney is, I think Mooney's like top 5 corner in the league.
I think he's a top 5 corner in the league. I think he's a top 5 player in the Niners. I think after Trent, CMC, Bosa, and Warner, you could argue that Travaris is the
Mooney.
next best player. I mean, as good as number 11 is, when you watch him practice one-on-one in training camp, I would give the edge to Travaris. He's a little bigger. He's a little faster. He matches up really well.
Put it like this. With number 11 out of the lineup, we still have many weapons on offense to be able to make things happen. If Mooney was not playing, our secondary is altered significantly. It's no question.
And he really is the best corner the Niners have had since I was a little kid. I mean, I know Richard Sherman was here, but he was older. And I feel like the one thing Richard Sherman did a really good job of was promoting himself, reminding people how good he is, or just arguing how good he is. Travaris Ward's a little bit more laid back. He's cool, but he's not out there being every week being like, I'm the best corner in the league. Yeah. If he did that, he might get more recognition because I think corners are kind of expected to be like that. But you do a very good Travaris Ward impression. That's just not his style.
It's not his style. Like, he's just flippant. Like, he's really just – one thing about him is that he's one speed. You know, he's not going to get rushed up. It's almost kind of like the markings of a good corner. Not going to get sped up. He's going to stay on top of the situation and understands when he needs to be able to respond. So,
like, L'Jarius Sneed is ranked ahead of him. Is L'Jarius Sneed really better than Travaris Ward? I don't know that. They're both really good. I might take Travaris.
Yeah.
Like, is Jalen Ramsey really better than Travaris Ward at this stage in Jalen Ramsey's career?
No,
I don't think so. But he's ranked ahead of him on this list.
Where is he at? Isn't he?
Jalen Ramsey is at 43.
Yeah.
I mean, if Jalen Ramsey's 43, then you could argue Travaris Ward should be 42.
Right.
Jalen Johnson is 34. I'm sorry. I'm taking Travaris Ward over Jalen Johnson.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson is 34.
Jalen Johnson, let's put it like this. We were there were reports that we were interested in Jalen Johnson mid-season last year. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. If Jalen Johnson would have came here, he would have been number 2 corner.
Hell yeah. So not exactly getting his due.
Yeah.
I like arguing on behalf of Travaris. Next highest rated 49er, 81, Deebo Samuel, writes Prisco. He's a pure football player who can do a lot of things for the Niners offense. His toughness is a big part of their identity. He had 60 catches with 7 going for touchdowns and also rushed for 5 scores and 225 yards. Last season, he was ranked 57. So big fall for Deebo. 12 touchdowns is a lot. He was pretty much 4th on the Niners in catches and receiving yards, but still a big part of their offense. What do you think of 81 for Deebo?
I think it's adequate.
Yeah.
I think it's adequate. That's
pretty
much everybody else was higher or lower. I think he deserves to be right here at 81. He doesn't really have a chief responsibility as far as position is concerned, right? And I understand that he gets a lot of caveats because of it. So when Deebo is not asked to run the full route tree, and Deebo it is absolutely ridiculous to ask Deebo to be a running back. So he gets in where he fits in. And quite honestly, Kyle does an amazing job at highlighting his skill set. That's one thing I do commend Kyle on, with being able to make Deebo look so well inside of the offense. That's a skill that I don't think a lot of coaches have. That's something that I worry for Deebo in the future, where if he does move on from the 49ers, not every coach is going to know what to do with him and be able to understand how to get the best out of him when they need to get the best out of him. But my thing with Deebo is that he's a game breaker. He's somebody that can completely tilt an entire game with one play, but there's just no day-to-day skill set about Deebo that I can depend on him every play. And, for that, I think he's adequately placed at 81.
Okay, last one. I agree with you on that. Brock Purdy, 85. He excels in the Niners offense, putting to rest any talk that he couldn't do it again after his rookie season in 2022, writes Prisco. He came back to throw 31 touchdown passes in 2023 and led the Niners to the Super Bowl. He is perfect for what they do on offense, and he averaged 9.6 per pass attempt to lead the league. My question is, if you said all that, then why is he the lowest ranked of the 49ers? Do you you didn't write it. What do you think of Purdy's placement?
I like it. 85 is cool. You know, we all know that you can't judge quarterbacks year to year because we all understand that quarterbacks are like presidents, right? You come in, we got to judge you on your term. All right. You can have one good year, but things happen within a fiscal year. We got to be able to see if your constituency is okay with all of the plans that you've put out that we're going to bear out over the course of the year. I feel that's the same over the course of a term. I feel the same way about Brock, where, you know, right now, Brock is doing an amazing job. He's been lights out. You can only really count on instances where he's been like bad. Outside of that, one thing that I always say about Brock is he's the only quarterback that's been able to survive Kyle. Maybe Matt Ryan did. And he showed it this year, proof of concept with the Super Bowl. But I feel like 85 is where he needs to be because we got to understand what Brock can do when he's truly the man, right? You can't call quarterbacks the man if you ain't getting the money. So when Brock gets paid and we see how this offense shapes around him when he's truly the man, you know, then we can start throwing Brock up in the 30s, the 20s and see where he belongs, right? Because then it'll be his team.
I hear what you're saying. To me, I just feel like Prisco's ranking is inconsistent because it's like you put Brock at 85. Cool, I can see that. But then you put CJ Stroud at 38, and he started fewer games than Brock. So that's a huge difference. Then you got Dak at 49, Jalen Hurts at 53, Trevor Lawrence at 62, Tua at 65, Jared Goff at 76. Like, you could argue that Brock is as good or better than all of those guys. So that's like where I feel like, you know, is Brock really not as good as George Kittle? Really? Is Brock not as good as Brandon Aiyuk? Is Brock not as good as Debo? Really? I don't know. It's pretty freaking good.
Yeah. Yeah. And he is a quarterback.
He's a quarterback. Prisco treated quarterbacks like
I feel like
guards.
his logic falls into why I said he was adequately placed because of his teammates, and he placed all of his teammates ahead of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Tua ahead of Brock?
No.
Like Tua's ahead of Brock. Like, ooh.
Where?
Tua's like 65.
65?
He's 20 spots ahead of Brock. I can't go for that. I can't go for that. No.
He had an impressive 2023 season, throwing 29 touchdowns, passes, and averaging 8.3 yards per pass attempt. What?
You know, in those like TikTok videos where something happens, it's like, what?
Hold on. But he closes with,
but he has to be better in the big games going forward to ease some of the questions about him.
What is that? Like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, bro. Like, there's no way that Tua should be 65, bro. That's sacrilege. Over Brock? Nah, I don't see that.
I mean, would you put Jalen Hurts over Brock?
No.
No, he's 53. Would you put Dak over Brock? Maybe you put Dak over Brock just because he's done it for longer, but
I mean the consistency, but
yeah. Even there, I feel like Brock's. If you're gonna put CJ Stroud at 38, huh?
George Pickens is over Brock.
Right. I think Brock should be probably top 50.
Yeah,
he probably should be top 50. Yeah.
Yeah, Montez Sweat got traded, and he's ahead of Brock.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem realistic.
Devon Witherspoon.
And he played 1 year.
He's a rookie.
Yeah. See, I don't know, Prisco.
The disrespect is wild.
Yeah.
Nico Collins?
Coach had to read your words in weird voices. That's how he felt about what you wrote.
Yeah, so bad, bro. That's so
DJ
bad.
95 says, I got a. What do you say?
I have no economics.
I got a.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Franco says the new coach background is fire. Might I ask if we trust CMC to stay healthy for a whole year this year? I mean, I don't even know if we're going
he
to be
stayed healthy
alive
for a whole year
tomorrow.
this past year.
Yeah. We'll see. He's got the guaranteed money now. He didn't have it before.
Mhm.
All right, we're almost done with the show. We pretty much should be done, but we got a little bonus topic. Sports Illustrated recently put out a article ranking the best head coach quarterback combos. And the Niners were not as high as maybe you would expect. Coach has the ranking and is going to share that with you.
All right, so you want to hear the top 10?
I would love to.
All right. So obviously, top 10 is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. Like, you understand it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. Number 2.
It's one of the greatest head coach quarterback combos of all time. All right, enough.
Is what it is, man. Right?
Yeah.
Number 2, John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't have a problem with it either.
Hold on. Now, wait a minute. Okay.
They're both
all right.
definitely top 5 in their field for sure.
My only thing is production. What have they actually done? Now, me and Jesse did this topic, but it was future-proofing 5 years ahead, right?
Yeah, you could really argue that the people who rank third should be second because the people who rank third won a Super Bowl together.
Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford are number
3. They did it.
I mean,
Harbaugh and Lamar have a whole lot to prove in the playoffs. Like everything.
Right.
They haven't even gone to the Super Bowl.
Right. So 4.
Okay.
4, CJ Stroud and
like Harbaugh and Lamar haven't even made it as far as Kyle and Jimmy made it. Kyle and Brock.
I think that's a little too bad. Yeah, doth protest too much.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit, you know what I'm saying? A little too much. But 4, CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans.
That's an irresponsible ranking. It's been 1 year.
That's a little bit much.
4?
Yeah, 4. I don't. All right, so
that's a projection.
Yeah.
Did they win a playoff game?
Yeah, they beat the Browns, I think. Didn't they beat the Browns?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. They beat the Browns, and then they got the brakes beaten off them in the next game.
Yeah. Then they got they lost to the Ravens. I don't think they got dogged by the Ravens though. But I do believe that, I love CJ Stroud and I got shamed into, understanding I would take CJ Stroud over Brock Purdy. But at the same time, I would take CJ Stroud over Brock Purdy to start a team. But as far as a tandem is concerned, Brock Purdy and his coach have done more than what DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud have done. Number 5, this is another future-proofing pick, Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. At number 5, how do you feel about that? With knowing that DeMeco Ryans,
I kind of like it better. I think they should be above DeMeco and CJ because LaFleur's done it a little bit longer. He's on his second quarterback. He had to put in a lot of time to develop Jordan Love. I feel like I would just swap them and put the Texans one behind the Packers instead of vice versa.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know why. I just feel like it took them so long to develop Jordan Love, and then it worked out. It's like that speaks well to LaFleur. Like he did that. Whereas DeMeco didn't develop CJ Stroud. He's a defensive coach, and the Panthers messed up big time, and he kind of lucked out.
He looked out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you want to look at that the same way, speaking of lucking out, all right. Number 6, Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert.
This is another projection, but I get it because I would consider Jim Harbaugh like a top 5 coach right now. He might even be better than his brother. And Justin Herbert, I do think is underrated. Like he had to play for Brandon Staley. That's messed up. That's messed up.
There isn't anybody that you haven't said doesn't belong here right now. Okay, just
No, I think it's fair. It's fair so far.
Okay, all right.
And it's crazy because some of these guys haven't really done it that long, and they're ranked ahead of.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. Is that these guys are so high, but I'm looking at what's actually been proven, and it's really not much.
Yeah, because we're real tough on Kyle for having not,
think about that. That's the point right now.
Completed the final stage, but yeah.
Number 7, Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. With the season that they just had. And they're 7.
I mean, Zach Taylor did do a good job with Jake Browning. I mean, he gets credit for that. Like, Zach Taylor seems like a good coach, frankly. And Joe Burrow is an excellent quarterback, but he gets hurt all the time.
And you believe that DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud, along with Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, deserve to be over a coach that actually went to the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
No, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I that was that's a good point.
That's nuts. Telling you. 8.
Okay.
Sean McDermott and Josh Allen. I don't even think they deserve to be up here.
I feel like Sean McDermott should have gotten fired 3 years ago. I can't believe he's still the coach there.
Enough already.
You've been there forever. It's never going to happen for you.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
Defensive head coach wasting Josh. Dude, this is nothing but Ron Rivera and Cam Newton redux.
I agree. I completely agree. Yep. I don't like this one.
All right. And 9, Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. Before you give your
I bet if you look
at
I bet if you look closely at the rankings, it's because Kyle's like 4 or 5 as a head coach and Brock's like 14 or something as a quarterback, which kind of annoys me because I just think that Brock's better at his job than Kyle is, but that's neither here nor there. This seems kind of fair.
Put around it. I'm gonna
seems kind of fair.
This is the write-up they put around it. Purdy is ranked probably right where he belongs. The 49ers will soon tell us their opinion of the former Mr. Irrelevant, with Purdy being with the Purdy extension being eligible after the 2024 campaign. Meanwhile, he will try to put together another quality year while Shanahan attempts to win yet another Super Bowl. The only thing he hasn't accomplished as a coordinator or a coach. They're holding the Super Bowl against him. That's what this is, right? And then for 10, I don't even think 10, Dan Campbell and Jared Goff. That's the top 10.
Yeah. I love how people frame it with Kyle like, oh man, he's done everything you could ask except the hardest thing. It's like, yeah, that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is when he's had the best roster in football, he choked. That's the other way. So I don't know which is the truth, but it depends on how you look at it. It's not like he's over here coaching like the bad news Bears. He's got the team and he can't close the deal.
Well, the biggest thing with Kyle right now is figuring out how to repurpose his offense, because I feel like everybody knows it now. At this stage, it's not even about like, when's the last time we've seen like, man, that was an amazing play from Kyle. Now it's really the players on the field. Like, I feel like he's almost getting a little cornered. He's getting pigeonholed in a sense.
Yeah, many teams run his system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you've seen like it's so predicated on that shift and that motion. But if you can sort of blow it up with late simulated pressure, Niners don't pick it up that well. You got to be aggressive. You can't sit back and let the Niners dictate to you on offense. But if you bring pressure, they have a tough time picking it up.
Yeah, if you let them dictate to you, it's going to be a long day. But if you kind of break things, blow through lines, like
disguise it,
attack that offensive line.
Yeah, really, attack their protection schemes.
Yep. Right.
Yep.
So
because they don't really reset their protection schemes that well. It's on the center. He did an awful job in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I'll also say with the Chiefs, man, I understand that they had Patrick Mahomes, and I get that, full stop. But the Chiefs won their Super Bowl with their defense.
That's crazy. It's true.
And I don't think people really want to realize that. Like, I know Patrick Mahomes, we talk about Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy and everything, but if you look at this game, we held them to 22 points.
Mhm.
Our defense did our job. And they did not beat us with Patrick Mahomes. They beat us with their defense. That was a defensive win. That was a down year for the Chiefs, and they won with their defense. I know it's disguised because they got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and all of that shit, but the truth of the matter is that they won on a down year with pretty much one of the best defenses in the league. And when we had the best defense in the league, we couldn't get it done. So again, it all comes back to coaching.
It really does. Well, I think those are fair rankings. I really enjoyed beating you in the game. You owe me $50, but you don't have to pay me anytime soon. You'll be out here for training camp. We can square up then.
We had to put something on it at first. At first, it was just too friendly. But I
like when you waited until you were down 3-0 to put some money on it. That's like when I'm golfing and I'll hit a really bad shot. I'll swing really hard and it'll go like 20 feet. And instead of like calming down, getting a new club, recalibrating, I'll just like run over to it and swing again. Really, that's what you do.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting it right.
Hit me.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great Thursday night. And make sure you subscribe to the coach's channel. SF Bang Bang 49.
We're doing our thing over here, man. Come rock with us. We got some
Look at it again.
stuff happening, man.
Hell yeah.
That's me and my little brother. You know what I'm saying? Our boys club pictures. So that's me with my great grandmother, and that's my little brother. Look at the little gangster over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.